You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a grant is helping bring high-speed internet to more rural Kansas communities.
Also, KOAM's Tanya Bach shows us how the city of Carthage has been preparing for the tens of thousands of visitors set to come for this year's Marian Days.
And we have another alert day today, continuing through tomorrow. Heat index values upwards of 115 degrees once again. Oh, look at that forecast. Get you out the door. Coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 7 o'clock now on this Wednesday morning, and it's another hot one. It's already warm and muggy out there this morning.
Oh.
And it's going to be dangerously hot again this afternoon.
Certainly. Yesterday, even just this morning, It's been muggy, so muggy, just unbearable out there, really.
Yeah, we're not getting any relief from the heat, which means our air conditioners aren't getting any relief either, but could be some help for some folks in Kansas. Maybe help them stay inside and enjoy YouTube or something like that.
Certainly. Rural Kansas families could soon have easier access to broadband internet. $10 million in grants have gone towards internet service providers for broadband acceleration in rural counties statewide.
Nearly $1 million of that goes to some of our local counties. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has the details.
For not only our community members to access information, but for our business members as well.
Robin Shelley is the Iola Area Chamber of Commerce Executive Director, and she's seen the struggle of unreliable internet connection in her own household when her daughter was taking an online class.
She was right in the middle of an exam and it just stopped. And so she's stressing already for statistics, she's stressing for an exam, and then to have the internet just completely stop and lose everything, which meant, guess what grade she received on that exam? A 0.
She says lack of reliable internet connection makes it difficult to access services like telehealth. She also says it makes it difficult to even Google something or order merchandise, which has been detrimental to small businesses in Allen County.
The small business that are either home-based business, which we have quite a few at the chamber here, or even our downtown merchants around the square, they rely on internet for marketing, for communication, for social media.
KOAM is a Kansas internet provider, and they received 2 grants of $950,000 from the state of Kansas towards connecting Coffee County and Allen County to high-speed internet. He says some Allen County families have difficulty using streaming services, joining Zoom calls, or even accessing their emails.
When we were doing an interview with the state, we had quite a few residents and community leaders that were willing to be part of this and partner with us on this important project, and they were having a difficult time just logging into Zoom.
Sofer is the Director of Business Development at KOAM, and he says this will benefit cell phone signal as this service helps connect cell phone towers. He says KOAM will tackle this issue as well.
Very serious problem in many of our rural communities, and so to being able to take care of an entire swath of area of over 90% of residents and being able to provide them fiber connectivity at an affordable rate.
Sofer says they hope to implement this service by the middle of 2025. Reporting in Allen County, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
KOAM will provide 332 premises with broadband technology.
This grant supports a Kansas initiative to support rural revitalization. And of course, you know, in this day and age, access to high-speed internet is essential.
Yeah.
There was a time where it wasn't essential, and you know, your wealthy friends had internet access at home with the old AOL dial-up and things like that, and they were cool, but now you have to have it. Businesses can't function without it.
It's a need, not a want.
Exactly. It's no longer a luxury item. It's a necessity. So anything we can do to help spread that access.
Great to see.
And that will also help you more easily access, say, the KOAM Skywatch weather app or the KOAM Plus app, where you can live stream us, so I can tell you how hot it's going to be. I know you don't want me to, but that's what I've got to do. I can't lie to you. I could, but then you'd be really upset. Let's start with the Skywatch Storm Tracker, see what we've got. We've got that little thunderstorm complex near Emporia, and that's it. We saw some showers. You can see they're barely visible. Little sprinkles now down here. Tried to flare up off of this, and it just did not come to be. And unfortunately, other than those stray showers in our far northwestern counties, this is really our only opportunity for rain today. It's our best opportunity for rain in That's where it is. We do have the excessive heat warnings in place again today for most of the area. Some of these are set to expire tonight and be replaced by heat advisories, but we'll see exactly how that pans out, what heat index values are looking like the next couple of days. Regardless, though, through today, heat index values in this zone up to 115 degrees. And if you're in a heat advisory right now, we're still talking heat index values 105 to 110. And unfortunately, there's no significant relief over the next several days. We're talking next maybe even 2 weeks of excessive heat to deal with. Not what we want to hear, but that's what we are dealing with. We'll have a few clouds as we head into the afternoon. And again, on the future track, if you blink, you'll miss it, but maybe an isolated shower or two. That's really about it. We're going to be hot, dry, and muggy. Right now, we're sitting at 80 in Joplin. Honestly, the temperature in Joplin really hasn't moved much yet this morning. That will change as the sun rises higher in the sky. Same in Pittsburgh, kind of just hovering at these points. But nonetheless, still a very warm and unpleasant start to the day. Upper 70s to right around 80 degrees across the area. You factor in humidity, dew point, our heat index values all morning long for most of us have been in the low to mid 80s, which is not pleasant to start the day with. We're looking at partly cloudy skies for today. Highs once again into the upper 90s and lower 100s. And just a reminder, we got heat index values for many of us potentially pushing 115 degrees. So make sure you're taking it safe out there. You're playing it safe, taking precautions. You do not want to be messing around with this heat. We're going to talk more about your forecast and just how long this excessive heat looks to last here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. And as you mentioned, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. You can get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Well, Neosho police were called to help assist a car that had gotten stuck on a railroad track yesterday evening. Officers found the car on the north end of the town and it had become high-centered on the tracks. Not long after officers arrived, a train heading south began to approach. The driver was able to get out before the train struck the car and spun it off the tracks. No one was injured and all traffic was allowed to resume an hour later. Joplin first responders were called to 32nd and Texas Avenue for a two-vehicle crash yesterday evening. One of the vehicles was making a turn onto 32nd Street when it was struck, T-boning the car. An older male was transported to Freeman West with severe injuries. The investigation is ongoing at this time. Well, Marion Days kicks off tomorrow in Carthage, Missouri. This year, organizers expect more than 60,000 people to attend the annual Vietnamese Catholic celebration. Many of the attendees are already in town. KOAM's Tanya Bach shows us how the community is welcoming them with a place to stay.
That's this lamp. I don't think I got this lamp.
Diana Fields is making the final preparations for her house guests this week. She's hosting 3 families during this year's Marion Days celebration. The annual Vietnamese Catholic event draws in tens of thousands of visitors to Carthage, Missouri, and they all need a place to stay.
All the hotels in the 4 cities around here are packed.
The annual pilgrimage packs hotels and converts Carthage homes like Fields into Airbnbs for the week. Thousands even choose to brave the heat, camping in tents in neighborhoods surrounding the campus of the Congregation of the Mother Co-Redemptrix. Father Paul Tran says Marion Days is not just about religion, it's a family reunion.
Right in the middle of the United States, so people from everywhere that, like here, the extended family cannot stay in one place, so it's hard to visit everybody, but they make this as a vacation.
They've been here, and it's usually their relatives. That way we know that they're vetted through Airbnb.
Fields says she and her husband started hosting in 2018.
But there's big followings of Vietnamese people in San Diego, it seems like Texas. We've had some from Colorado, from Iowa, just from all over the country. I was in high school during the Vietnam War, so I don't really know a lot about it, and it's been interesting to hear them talk about when their parents, because these are like second generation Vietnamese that came over from Vietnam to escape the war and everything. And they just talk about how, they came here, their parents worked really hard, they were met with a lot of obstacles, prejudice, because the war was very controversial. but they watch their parents work really hard and create a life here. They have a strong belief in God, strong family values, and we can relate to that.
A cultural experience Fields says she gets through hosting, something she plans to do for years to come.
As long as we're here, because we're really in a convenient place for them, and it works out really good.
Reporting in Carthage, Missouri, Tanya Bach, KOAM News.
Marion Days runs through Sunday and is open for everyone to attend. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, it's Wildcat Wednesday, and representatives from the Kansas State Research Extension Office join us this morning to share more on summer educators. Carrie Lance and Francisco Castaneda from the Kansas State Research and Extension District are with us this morning to share how summer educators have helped bridge the gap left from COVID for young kids learning. So welcome to you both. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Talk to me a little bit about this grant that you all received to help summer educators help students.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie Lance. Kansas 4-H received a 3-year grant through the Department of Education, and it helped bridge the gap from COVID learning loss. And so through that grant, we've been able to provide 4 summer educators in Wildcat District over the last 3 years. Unfortunately, this is the last year of our grant, but we've been able to provide a consistent programming to all of our youth, whether it's in summer schools or in the libraries or whatever that might be, over the last 3 years. And we've impacted a lot of youth throughout that time.
Absolutely. That's incredible. And you are one of the interns, yes. Francisco. Talk to me a little bit about your experience, not only how you feel like it's benefited yourself, just learning about education and educating others, but what you've seen in the students as well.
For me personally, I felt like it was a very new perspective into the world of education, because primarily in education, we see the vision of students in a classroom learning, just in a classroom, teacher and student. But for this experience, it was very new of being outside of the classroom and learning in different settings. And it was a very nice environment to work in, very amazing colleagues for the experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great opportunity for everyone, I'm sure. Now, do you feel like, I know you said that this is the last year of the grant, but are you seeing that there's still a need to help students after COVID and just in terms of learning and just providing that education, that fundamental education?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have programs and curriculum that the summer educators have provided throughout the summer. We actually get to use that throughout the school year, and we have a lot of school districts already reaching out to us for programming this next year, whether it be in after-school programs or coming in during the day and doing some hour or half-hour lessons with them. So this year they did a program called Reading Makes Sense, and it was a financial literacy program, and a lot of our schools loved it for their summer schools, so they want all of their youth to receive that this year.
Wonderful. And really quickly, if people want to find more information about the Summer Educator Program or just more that you all do, where can they go to find that information?
Well, they can call any of our offices, Altamont, Independence, Girard, and Fredonia. They can look on the K-State website for Wildcat District, and we can help provide any information and some of the curriculum we have.
Wonderful, fantastic. Well, thank you, Carrie and Francisco, for being with us this morning. We're going to be back with more right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is 7:18 now on this Wednesday morning. Skywatch Storm Tracker. Well, we don't really have much out there. We had this complex that was initially rolling east very slowly. It's turned northeast, rolling into Emporia. Emporia has been getting rain the last few days, just clipping our viewing area here. And we've still got this one little shower. It's trying to do something, not much, but trying to, between Elk and Chautauqua County. So initially that storm this morning was severe. Then more development occurred. It fizzled out a bit and then redeveloped, and it's dying out again as it gets closer to Emporia. But that is our best shot of rain, honestly, all day. We have a less than 10% chance of rain. And as we take the future track down the road, you're going to see, if you blink, you're going to miss them. Maybe an isolated shower or two. Otherwise, 98% of us dry, hot, muggy. It's why we have an alert day today and tomorrow is for the extreme heat. Now, as we go into tomorrow morning, late tonight, early tomorrow morning, could see a few thunderstorms from some complexes that are going to bring severe weather off to our northwest. And that wave that comes off could trigger some redevelopment of some isolated showers and thunderstorms. They won't last very long. They're going to be relatively limited as well in terms of coverage, but at least we could get a little more rain as we head into our Thursday. The problem is what we've run into with all these rain chances is we get these little bursts of rain like that, and when they die out, the only thing they do is they leave behind a huge pool of very warm, moist air, making it even more uncomfortable across the area, and that's very likely what we're going to experience. By tomorrow night, we see an opportunity for some thunderstorms to clip parts of northeastern Oklahoma. Stronger storms off to our south and west, but some of us down there, Bartlesville, Veneta, Grove, could actually get a little more meaningful rainfall. And we go into Friday, it's going to be hot, and it's going to stay that way. Let's take a look first at this. We have the excessive heat warnings across the region again through today, hence the alert day. If you're in the excessive heat warning, we're talking heat index values up to 115 degrees. If you're in the heat advisory, heat index values 105 to 110. Now, some of these excessive heat warnings expected to expire this evening and be replaced by heat advisories, but don't let that fool you into thinking that that means things are any better. Heat advisories are still up to 110 degrees heat index values, so not much improvement out there. Don't forget, number of extreme heat safety tips on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, including a great informational graphic explaining the symptoms, warning signs for heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Heat exhaustion likely with these heat index values. Heat stroke is definitely possible. You got to make sure you're taking precautions, staying indoors as you can. In Joplin, we're sitting at 80. Winds are gusting up to 24. Feels like 84. Dew point is 71. And temperatures across the area, they've been unpleasant all morning long, but they've been kind of hovering. We haven't seen a lot of movement yet, but that's going to change as we go through the morning. Upper 70s, low 80s out there. And then we put in the dew points, which are miserable to say the least. We've got low, mid, and upper 70-degree dew points out there, and that's bringing in heat index values already this morning. Low to mid 80s, starting to get into the upper 80s. Columbus, Miami, look at that. Almost feels like it's getting close to 90 degrees, and it's not even quite 7:30 yet. That's why we're saying you got to take this heat seriously. Partly cloudy skies through the morning. Upper 80s by 11 o'clock. Heading into the afternoon, it is dangerously hot. Upper 90s, lower 100s for our highs. And again, you already know the story on those heat index values. No real relief from the heat heading through the evening and or to the overnight hours. Look at that, still back close to 80 degrees. Again, with maybe an isolated shower or storm out there. We're going to be about 100 tomorrow. Got those storm chances. And then look at this. I mean, every day on this 10-day forecast is a miserable looking day. So we go upper 90s and lower 100s, maybe some storms toward the end of next week. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Well, Pittsburgh Memorial Auditorium is ready to host the family musical Into the Woods. We have Ben Sean and Colby Madsen. They're with us this morning to share a little bit about what you can expect when you come to see the musical. Welcome to you both. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. So Into the Woods is a pretty iconic musical for those who are, familiar with musicals. So talk to me a little bit about, for those who might not know about the musical and what people can expect.
Yeah, so it's a Sondheim classic. Mm-hmm. So basically, it takes all these classic fairy tales. You've got Jack and the Beanstalk, Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, and it takes all these tales and it basically just combines it into one, big adventure with lots of moving parts, lots of different storylines going on. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just a great time for the whole family.
Absolutely, definitely fun for the whole family. And talk to me a little bit about the parts that you guys are playing so people can come and see you.
I'm playing Jack from this Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Rapunzel's prince.
So some pretty good characters there for those who might not know. I only watched it because of the movie that came out with that star-studded cast years back was just absolutely fantastic. So it's exciting that you guys are putting it on. Any changes that you guys are making to the musical?
Usually the musical does not have an ensemble associated with it. So, but we did end up adding an ensemble in. I'm not going to reveal too much about what they do because it's kind of, it's a little bit different. But that is a big change that not a lot of productions do, but we're
We'll
doing
have to come
it.
and
So.
see that then, absolutely. And then so tomorrow is opening night. It's Thursday through Sunday. Talk to me about ticket prices and where people can go to purchase their tickets.
We are all over Facebook, Instagram, Triple Threat Theatrics. Go there. Website, links for tickets. I'm not sure how much tickets cost, but you know, this show is worth it. Whatever pretty
the
penny it
price.
is.
There you go. And when does the production start tomorrow night?
At 7 p.m. It's 7 through, I think it's 7 every day till Saturday.
Until Sunday.
Till Sunday.
Okay.
And then Sunday's at 2 p.m.
Okay, a little matinee. Wonderful. Are you guys excited? Are you feeling nervous?
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
There's always nerves when we do these things, but
They go once you get on the stage, though. You know.
You guys are
So.
seasoned pros, it seems. Well, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Remember, Into the Woods kicks off tomorrow night and we'll run through Sunday. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. I'm Elise Noe. The developing story from the Middle East this morning. Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard says the leader of Hamas is dead. Iran says Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated in Tehran early this morning. Haniyeh was in Tehran to attend Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian's swear-in ceremony. Iran has not yet released details about the assassination, but says an investigation is underway. No responsibility has been claimed in the Hamas leader's death, and Israel vowed to kill Haniyeh and other Hamas leaders after the October 7th attacks. A plea is in for a horrific area kidnapping and murder case that drew national headlines. 44-year-old Amber Waterman of Pineville, Missouri, has been accused of kidnapping and killing an Arkansas woman in order to take her unborn child. Yesterday, Waterman pleaded guilty to 1 count of kidnapping resulting in a death of Ashley Bush and 1 count of causing the death of a child in utero. Bush was 31 weeks pregnant when she was lured to meet Waterman in Maysville, Arkansas in October 2022. Waterman had contacted Bush through Facebook, offering the possibility of a job. After her disappearance, authorities responded to reports of a baby girl who was not breathing in the Pineville, Missouri area. The child died. Waterman first claimed she had given birth to the child, but later admitted that it was Bush's baby. While searching Waterman's property, authorities found the burned remains of Bush. An autopsy indicated Bush had died of penetrating trauma of the torso, and the death was classified as a homicide. Waterman now faces a mandatory sentence of life in prison without parole for each death. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, Crawford County Mental Health cut the ribbon on a new location for their children's services yesterday. The ceremony featured a newly renovated office on Broadway in Pittsburgh and a meet and greet with the staff. Visitors had a chance to learn about children's services available to the community, as well as new youth mental health and crisis services.
Over the last year, we've grown considerably for the amount of clients that we've seen, clients we've worked with. We've developed great partnerships with local partners, schools, different things like that have been great in working with us. And I think as a result of those partnerships and our expansion of services, we've seen more clients come seeking what we're able to provide.
The children's services are now at 710 North Broadway. The state of Oklahoma has a sales tax holiday coming up this weekend. What this means for shoppers in the Sooner State is retail taxes will not be collectible or payable on certain purchases. Specifically, any article of clothing or footwear under $100 per item this weekend will be tax-free. Shoppers can shop online or at retail locations. Oklahoma's sales tax holiday runs from Friday through Sunday. Now here's Chris with a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we're starting with the Skywatch Storm Tracker once again, just showing you we're really not getting much out there. That one little shower had flared up between Elk and Chautauqua County, still trying to hold on, but as you can see, is not really much there. We had this complex of storms lifting off to the northeast toward Emporia. That is bringing some very light showers to the far northwestern edges of our area. And this really is our best chance of rain all day. And as you can see, it's not a very impressive chance of rain as it stands. We do have the excessive heat warnings again today. Our alert day continues today into tomorrow. If you're in the excessive heat warnings, remember, heat index values could reach 115 degrees. Heat advisory, folks, you're not much better off, though. Heat index values still 105 to 110 degrees out there. Now, some of the excessive heat warnings are set to expire this evening and be replaced with heat advisories, which means a very slight improvement, but we'll just wait and see exactly how this all pans out. Future track into this afternoon and evening. Other than some partly cloudy skies and maybe an isolated shower, we are dry, hot, and humid. And it's already warm and humid out there right now. 80 in Joplin, 79 in Pittsburgh as we get the day underway. And as we look at temperatures across the region, again, still upper 70s and even into the low 80s out there. And you factor in the dew point and humidity. Take a look at these heat index values between Columbus and Miami. 86, 87. We've got low to mid 80s for most of us, starting to see the upper 80s, and it's not even 8 a.m. yet. As we head through the day, we're looking again at partly cloudy skies. Our highs once again at uncomfortable levels and well above normal as we go upper 90s into the lower 100s. And again, those heat index values for a number of us could approach 115 degrees. So make sure you're taking precautions, staying safe out there, staying hydrated, and staying indoors where possible. We're having another full look at your forecast, talking about this unpleasant heat here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
Thanks, Chris. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We'll meet a man who had an opportunity to meet the surgeon who saved his life after being born with a heart defect. In Consumer Watch this morning, new survey data sheds light on why shoplifting has seen a recent spike. The Lending Tree survey of 2,000 adults ages 18 to 78 revealed that about 23% of Americans have stolen items from stores in the last year. 90% say they were moved to do so because of inflation and the economy. The survey finds that shoplifting has risen an average 24% in the first half of 2024 compared to the same time last year. More consumers are turning to financial experts for help with their credit. Money Management International, a credit counseling service, says new clients rose by 52% so far in 2024 compared to the previous year. The company says the amount of debt their clients have is also rising. Credit experts say inflation has led to more consumers using credit cards to help bridge the gap of rising expenses. Social media and the harm it can bring to children is a growing national concern. The U.S. Senate took a significant step forward on this issue, passing two major bills aimed at keeping kids safe online and holding tech companies accountable. It's a big win for Congress, but the legislation won't be landing on President Biden's desk anytime soon. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor explains.
The U.S. Senate wants social media companies like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat to be held more accountable for any harm kids experience using their apps, and overwhelmingly passed a pair of bills Tuesday requiring just that.
No longer will we rely on big tech when it says, trust us. They betrayed that trust.
The bipartisan legislation puts responsibility on social media companies to prevent harm to teens on their platforms, by limiting targeted ads and content, for example. It also gives parents more control to monitor their child's social media use.
The Senate keeps its promise to every parent who's lost a child because of the risks of social media.
The bills were largely spearheaded by parents who've lost children to suicide or drugs because of social media.
Children's lives are more precious than any penny big tech will make at their expense.
Would you like now to apologize to the victims who have been harmed by your product? Show them the pictures.
At an emotional hearing earlier this year, Meta's Mark Zuckerberg apologized to some of these families. Meta, Microsoft, and Snapchat's parent company all support the legislation.
This is Congress being responsive, at its best being responsive both to a societal need and those of individuals.
We are on the cusp of a new era. It is an era of accountability for big tech.
Before it becomes law, this legislation must go through the House, but it won't be addressed anytime soon, as that chamber is in recess until September. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:43, just about to be 7:44 now on this Wednesday morning. Skywatch Storm Tracker, still that one stray shower in Elk County. It's trying. It's not much, but it is there. And then we have these thunderstorms off to our north and west, and unfortunately, they are continuing to track off to the north and east. So really this morning, this is our best opportunity for rain, and as you can see, 99% of us almost are dry, and that's how we're going to be as we head into the afternoon today. Well, partly cloudy skies going into the afternoon, still hot, still humid, still dangerously hot, to be honest with you. It's why we have an alert day today and tomorrow. Could see an isolated shower again this afternoon, but really it's less than a 10% chance. Now tonight into tomorrow morning, that changes a wee bit. We're expecting some strong to severe thunderstorms off to our north and west, and we could get the dying remnants of that, which could leave a little wave behind that could trigger some redevelopment of some isolated showers and thunderstorms in the first half of our Thursday. But as you see, by about 4 or 5 o'clock, they rapidly dissipate out there, and most of us also will remain dry. We go in to Thursday night, and it's kind of a similar story until we get later. Then we get some isolated showers. Another thunderstorm complex off to our south and west could clip parts of northeastern Oklahoma. And so you guys could get some rain, maybe a strong storm, but it's going to be just barely clipping our area by very early Friday morning. After that, though, our Friday is mostly sunny. And it is hot, and it is muggy, and it is unpleasant. And unfortunately, it's going to stay that way for the foreseeable future. Excessive heat warnings, in effect for most of the area still through today. And we're talking heat index values up to 115 degrees. Heat advisories still in effect as well for heat index values 105 to 110. Now, some of these excessive heat warnings are going to expire this evening, but they'll be replaced by heat advisories. So we're not quite done with the dangerous heat yet. The only difference is the excessive heat warnings, the heat index values go up to 115. Heat advisories are in that 105 to 110 range. So don't let it fool you, making you think that suddenly it's going to be a little better outside. It absolutely is not. Don't forget, on our website, a number of extreme heat safety tips, as well as a very useful graphic that explains the warning signs and symptoms of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. And heat exhaustion is likely in this kind of heat. Heat stroke is definitely possible, so you've got to take care of yourself out there. Stay indoors if you can, but if you have to be outside, just again, make sure you're taking frequent breaks and staying hydrated. 80 in Joplin still. Feels like 84. That wind gusting upwards of 24 miles an hour. Just a few clouds. As we look at temperatures across the region, we're still, most of us, upper 70s to right around the low 80s. And then we factor in these dew points, and they are terrible. As we go low, mid, and upper 70-degree dew points, putting us beyond that soupy range. That's putting heat index values low, mid, and even now upper 80s starting to show up, and it's not quite 8 a.m. yet. So that's just kind of that sign as to how unpleasant it's going to be later today. We get our morning started, partly cloudy skies, maybe a stray shower in our very far northwestern counties. That's going to be about it. Upper 80s by 11 o'clock. Our highs today, once again, uncomfortable. Upper 90s, lower 100s across the region. No relief from the heat again into the evening hours. And that's the other part that really stinks about this is we're not getting much relief from the heat in the evenings either. Still back down to about 80, partly cloudy skies, and again, maybe an isolated shower or storm. Again, in the first half of our Thursday, maybe an isolated shower or storm, 100 tomorrow, and our temperatures remain in the upper 90s and lower 100s for the next several days. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
A 22-year-old from Kansas City is a huge Twins fan, so much so he's interning with the team this summer.
His ties to Minnesota began the day he was born, even though he didn't grow up there. Marielle Moe shares his unforgettable reunion.
Behind the team making this diamond shine is 22-year-old Brandon Majerus, interning with the Twins grounds crew this summer.
Just being with the Minnesota Twins, it's honestly a dream come true. I never even
thought I would be here today.
Because today wasn't promised for him, just minutes after he was born on April 7th, 2002 in Rochester.
It went from joy to, completely scared.
He needed emergency surgery for a life-threatening congenital heart defect. His dad, Brian, getting emotional reflecting on that day. Thanks to an incredible team at Children's Minnesota, Brandon survived.
And it has really helped me become a Twins fan.
Living in Minnesota this summer, it felt fitting to make time to meet the surgeon who saved his life 22 years ago.
Nice to meet you.
Brandon doesn't remember the first time he met Dr. David Overman.
All I know is the stories.
But he'll definitely remember this full circle moment.
I really appreciate what you did because, I know I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you.
And that's really one of the great gifts of this job.
Brandon's survival as a newborn and his resilience every day after gave this family the gift of perspective.
And I've learned a lot from him. Just the way he acts every day, the way his faith in God, and he's just been a blessing.
Now how I live my life is I treat it one day at a time and know that not every day is granted.
Cherishing days like this at his dream job.
It's beautiful out here.
It's certainly an incredible story there, and great to see him living out his dream and also meeting someone who helped him have the life that he has today.
Yeah, that's just a remarkable story and a remarkable young man for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, we have a less than remarkable forecast for you, unfortunately. Staying hot and humid out there. Let's start first with Skywatch Storm Tracker. We'll take one more look at these showers out here. So our very far northwestern counties, up by Burlington, north of Eureka, north of Yates Center, getting some light shower activity as this thunderstorm complex develops and lifts off to the north and east. This little shower, really, it's not very big. You may not even notice it. That rain likely not even reaching the ground, but it's been drying, and it's slowly lifting off to the north and east as well. This is our best opportunity for rain today, and as you can see, it's a less than impressive opportunity. We take a look at the future track just heading this afternoon and evening, and we are going to be dry, hot, humid, maybe a shower or two. Then overnight and into early tomorrow morning, we got some thunderstorms from a dying complex off to our northwest that could leave behind a little bit of instability and trigger some brief redevelopment of scattered thunderstorms for our Thursday, at least isolated to scattered, but they start to fizzle out pretty quickly. By 4 or 5 o'clock, they are out of here. And a quick reminder, excessive heat warnings across most of the area, heat index values to 115, and in the heat advisories, heat index values 105 to 110. We'll have another look at your forecast and news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. 44-year-old Amber Waterman of Pineville, Missouri pleaded guilty to 1 count of kidnapping resulting in the death of Ashley Bush and 1 count of causing the death of a child in utero. Bush was 31 weeks pregnant when she was lured to meeting with Waterman in Maysville, Arkansas in October 2022. Waterman now faces a mandatory sentence of life in prison without parole for each death. Families in rural Kansas will have access to reliable internet. A $950,000 grant has been awarded to provide broadband access in Allen and Coffee counties. It's intended to allow for telehealth, online education, and remote work in more rural communities. The service in Allen County should be set up by the middle of 2025.
And an alert day today and tomorrow. Dangerous heat index values up to 115 today. Highs upper 90s and lower 100s under partly cloudy skies. No real relief from the heat for the evening or overnight. Back down near 80. Then late tonight, early tomorrow morning, an isolated shower or thunderstorm will be possible. We have a dying complex of storms that could set off a little wave of isolated storms in the first half of our Thursday. Otherwise, most of us still dry, hot, 100 degrees. And there's no relief from this heat for the next several days either. Take a look at this extended forecast. Upper 90s, lower 100s as far as the eye can see, with maybe a few storm chances next Thursday and Friday. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself, staying hydrated out there, because it's not going to let go anytime soon.
Absolutely, certainly important. Well, visitors trying to tour Paris during the Olympic Games can do so in a unique way aboard a boat with parts made of Lego bricks. Operations of the Lego boat begin today on the River Seine.
The Lego models are on display at each of the boat's 9 stops, including a 9-foot Eiffel Tower at the Creation's namesake stop. The Lego boat will take journeys on the Seine until September the 16th. Talk about a lot of Legos.
Look at that. I bet you that's really cool.
Legos float to a certain degree, but I mean, unless you actually have like a boat Lego, I don't know.
I don't know. I guess we'll
Seems
find
a little
out.
hazardous. Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.